Welcome back into the program, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. So I just told somebody, or Scott told somebody off the air, that we were not streaming. I think we're now streaming. We mashed the same buttons that we were during the last segment that didn't turn on. So now it maybe, look, maybe there's sound. I don't know. Maybe there's sound. Maybe it's maybe you can hear me 27 times. I don't know. I can't do the show and monitor the thing, but if it starts working, it starts working, and at least we know at least what some of the buttons are that we can. Hey, look at this, guy. All the cameras are on now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time.
Okay, all the cameras, one of the microphones. That's what the goal is.
That's the goal.
Okay.
One of the guys came in and said, "Look, it doesn't appear to be any way to turn them all off, so just run them all down to where they can't hear anything." Okay, great.
That's one
all
way
right.
So you may get some. Well, never mind.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't want to jinx it. Never mind.
Actually, they think if you run them all down, they'll quit. Maybe that's why they came on. I don't know. So anyway, it's all good. Let's go out to Red Top.
Fight it out.
He's going to help us with some answers to this question. Red Top, good morning. I hope you're well. Happy Friday. And please don't say nothing to worry about. Why you whining about? It's all going to be great and wonderful. It's awesome. Don't say that.
Well, you're obviously severely paranoid today, but
you should see him, Red Top.
I'm stressed.
I don't want to. I told y'all yesterday I don't want to watch a bunch of guys on the radio.
It's
now,
only me, Sky. And look, I'm a dashing young man.
No,
I'm easy on the eyes.
Hey, I'm a man. There ain't a damn thing that dashes me about you.
And I'm glad to hear that.
We're all in agreement.
When y'all get some good-looking women in there, like April Marie or something, might be worth streaming. But right now, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be looking at two old guys, and that's fine.
I'm thinking about starting a Scott Beason Radio. What's that one called? OnlyFans. That's what I'm thinking about doing.
Lord.
As soon as I get this stream for the show going, I'm going to do an OnlyFans, and people can watch me make coffee and cut
Elizabeth,
grass.
I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth. It's the big one.
Also, you know what? It's nothing like going to a concert or going to a show for a band, and all the musicians walk up on stage and they haven't even tuned their guitars yet. And everybody's waiting for them to tune guitars for 15 minutes before the show starts. This is what we're going through with radio these days. Sky and I were talking about this. You know what? I had to get used to this. This started about 20 years ago, Greg, where I'm listening to the radio for entertainment, and all they're doing is playing with their computer the whole time. And
computers have been yes. Okay,
you know,
continue.
A bane of look. I would like nothing better than to not be messing with the computer.
No, I don't agree with that. All you guys are so addicted to it. Social media, now you want to become an influencer with your own channel. These are severe mental illnesses that are incurable.
It's
the business, I'm afraid, though.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. You got to compete.
Hey, I know one of the big stations in Birmingham, Sky, every host has a video live stream, and it was set up by the station.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the whole station is quote-unquote televised.
Mandatory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to something besides y'all playing with your equipment all show long.
I want to talk about old time radio now. Wait a minute, you wetted my taste buds, man, a little bit.
And Sky and I were just talking about this. You used to be able to pay just $200 to ASCAP and BMI. You use whatever music you want.
Yeah, that's an issue big time with YouTube.
Yeah,
big
time.
Can't do that anymore.
Nope.
No.
They done boxed you guys into where you can't even do your own show. So
hey, let me ask you this: you two, y'all are music guys. Red Top, you're a music guy. Wasn't there, look, is it just a wives' tale? Because people like me thought you could use like 10 seconds of people's music, and that was fine. Was there a time when you could do that? Because now it's like
licenses. There's different licenses.
Okay.
No, you got the law is all wrong. It's like repeating melodies, etc. There is like a 10-note limit or something like that, where you can't plagiarize that artist's work, no more than you can plagiarize somebody's literary works verbatim without incurring a fine if you get caught.
Red Top, let me tell you real quick. When I first heard of this, we're going to start streaming on YouTube thing, and it was explained to me. I was doing the afternoon show, filling in for Greg Bedell, and I was told, I love to come in and play music, which I can't do on this show because we have to use a rotator because of the board limitations with doing him remotely. So when we start, and I loved it, come in the afternoon, play whatever I want for bumpers. And so I was told when the video streaming went up, oh, by the way, you can't use any music on YouTube. And I said, let me get this straight. So we're doing radio, but we can't use music. Is that about the size of it? You got it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm built for this new world, man. Jeez.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. That's why it's time to get out of the game if they're going to bastardize it and mess it up that much.
But I love it. I still love radio.
I do love it too. I love playing music and playing live, but there's no clubs to play in anymore. The music business has been totally collapsed. Started in the 90s by what was the free streaming service? I forgot now.
Oh Lord!
Oh, the one that that pirated everything.
Black, was it Black something? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember it though. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look it up on my computer.
Do that.
Oh yeah, please do that. By the way, the Artemis astronauts were on for a full 30 minutes this morning on CBS, and this to go back to your race question. This little black girl asked the pilot, who was a black guy, who was excellent. This guy's super smart.
Super.
How does it feel to be the first person of color to go around the moon? And he pretty much looks at this little girl and he says, that's not what it's all about. He says, we're all together up here. He says, the first thing I look at is my NASA logo. And then the next one was the Artemis logo. And he says, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
so
I thought that I saw that, Red Top. I thought it was a good answer. I was kind of expecting him to say, well, I guess it felt like the same way everybody else who finally got to go around the moon felt. I felt just like the white guys did. I just felt like
did.
Yeah, but see,
subtext. Yeah,
this man is very much more intelligent than that and has risen above that. I am intelligent enough and have risen above all this race stuff. And on top of that, you're quoting SPLC, the most crooked and horrible organization in the world that says we're going to have white people not going to be the majority in 15 years. Buddy, they also said we was going to have a city on the moon by 1990, didn't they? None of these things are coming true. They said global warming was going to happen. It's not happening. So I'm sorry you're getting so pulled into this stuff. Because let's face the reality, 60% of the world's population lives in Asia. They ain't white, are they? None of them.
No, they're not. What does that have to do with what we're talking about?
It has everything to do with what we're talking about. You talk about all these racial minorities. Caucasians have always been the minority, period. There's never been a time where there's more Caucasians than any other ethnic group. We are the smallest. We are the newest group of humans on the planet.
Yeah.
So these are antiquated thoughts. And by the way, Donald Trump got elected by a complete ethnic cleansing of all races voted for Donald Trump. Isn't that true?
No.
Record numbers of
record numbers of minorities voted for Donald Trump. Yes.
Well,
but the majority of those minorities did not vote for Donald Trump. They voted for Kamala Harris.
Well, enough of them voted to change everything. All the DEI stuff is gone. I don't know why you think it's coming back. You sound like it's going to come back with a vengeance. I don't believe that, man. I think we've turned a big corner.
I can tell you from his history that you're wrong. We got to take a break. We will be back. Welcome back in, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. So far, so good. For those of you who want to check it, I even chatted with someone during the break. Big Dave was checking it out over in Birmingham, and the guys here at 1819's International Headquarters is not, they're not coming in telling me they're on 4 or 5 different streams. So good. So far, so good with the goal. So if y'all want to check it out, go to YouTube, search for Scott Beason. Not Scott Beason Media anymore. We make that change because nobody could remember media. Now it's Scott Beason.
Sometimes direct traffic.
And hopefully we'll get enough of these things going where all of the old things put up by my haters are pushed further and further and further down the screen.
Gotta make it a point to get in there this weekend and check some of that out.
No. It's not necessary.
I need to.
You actually can go through some of that stuff and you'll see why some of the views I have are the views I have. So you're like, really? No wonder he's mad all the time. I mean, no wonder he says that they'll just say whatever. No wonder he believes. So I look, I didn't mean to be short necessarily the Red Top.
We do have time to switch the program.
We do. And I wish I could say that Red Top is right. That America has turned some sort of corner, that there's no reason to be concerned about the demographic changes that happen in this country. It's all good. But I'm not trying to be negative, but for anybody to think that there's not going to be major upheaval, because we are a country that has been balkanized constantly. And a lot of people vote with their group. A lot of people are told to vote with their group. A lot of people are expected to vote with their group. And yeah, there are some breaks and some chinks in the armor here and there. But if you look at the places where demographic change has occurred, which would be a lot of blue dot cities, what I'm afraid is going to happen to the whole United States has happened over and over and over and over and over again. And someone needs to show me that great example of where, no, Scott, people voted based on political philosophy, and the overriding, most influential force was not the racial makeup of those people voting. Usually what happens is there's always a transition period. There's the last guy, the last mayor who happens to be usually a liberal white guy. That's usually the last mayor in the transition, and then it's almost gone. Show me a place, and there might be one. Show me a place where the demographic change was reflected in the mayor and the city council in a blue dot city, and then they came back 2 elections later. Not 1 election, because we're still in that transition period there. 2 elections, give you almost a decade, 8 years. And they came back and said, hey, let's elect the person that doesn't look like us. I don't know where that has happened. Now,
think of any major city.
yes, correct.
No, not that.
And my guess is that is what will happen to different states, and that is what will happen possibly across the country. I'm not hoping for that. I'm hoping that we grow and we have a maturity level. But when you bring in people from all over the world, look at the Somali population in Minneapolis. Do you see that population wanting to be American?
No, they just incorporated Somali flag
aspect, so it is reflective.
Yeah.
It reminds you of the Somali flag. Let me read you something.
That's what's happening in Minnesota. And I don't, well, continue.
No, it is. And so one of the things I saw was, I don't know if you've seen this story. Here it is, Michigan town. It backs up what I'm saying. By the way, we have a special guest at the top of the hour. We need to look for them. They'll call in at the top of the hour, talking about some cultural stuff. Michigan town This is a story by Cassandra McDonald. It's Ann Arbor, Michigan. Isn't Ann Arbor where the University of Michigan is? Ann Arbor Mayor Christopher Taylor and the city council have spent $18,000. Now, Scott, it's the same thing. Christopher Taylor, liberal white guy, $18,000 in taxpayer funds to remove 600 signs across the city. Now, do you want to know what the signs are? The signs are neighborhood white signs. Y'all remember the sign? It's got the like kind of the logo, kind of a blue background. It has a kind of a teardrop shape going to the right, and there's a black dot in the middle, which I guess is an eye. So they took down 600 neighborhood white signs after the city's officials declared that the crime prevention signs were expressions of exclusion that allegedly promote racial profiling and make people of color feel unwelcome. In a video statement posted to Instagram through Virtue Signal, Taylor, that's the mayor, declared, quote, frankly, neighborhood white signs are expressions of exclusion and they're inconsistent with our values. Ann Arbor is a welcoming community. We don't want to push people away. We want to welcome folks in. Neighborhood white signs. Now here is the interesting part. And this is what I think drives the story home, Scott. So I go out to the interweb and I search. I'll give you what I searched. Was it liberal Americans who invented the neighborhood watch program across the country decades ago? Here's the response. Now, I want you to note the two cities that are going to be referenced here. Neighborhood watch programs were not created by a single political group, but rather developed in the early 1970s by law enforcement agencies led by the National Sheriff's Association in 1972 to combat rising crime rates, burglary, and unrest. Here's the next sentence. Now remember, Ann Arbor, Michigan is taking down the neighborhood watch sign. While some early progressive police departments in cities like Seattle and Minneapolis encourage these programs. Okay, so the two cities that are referenced by AI as being a part of this, starting this neighborhood watch stuff. Hey, why don't we don't need more police. We need to get the neighbors just to watch out. Hey, Sally, is that your cousin outside your house? Or is that possibly a burglar? Oh, neighbors. Awesome.
Looking out for one another.
City at Seattle and Minneapolis, the whole, hey, we're a village. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
They encourage these programs. The initiative was largely a broad, nonpartisan response to nationwide crime.
And it was a good one.
It was a good program.
They brought people together as a group. Yeah.
And it said, hey, know who your neighbors are. If you see something, or what is the one they say now? See something, say something.
Yeah, I think we're going to replace those signs with something saying, no stitches. Stitches get stitches.
Stitches get stitches. That's exactly right. You know what I'm figuring they did? Because this is Ann Arbor. You want to bet whether they just left the pole?
Only you would come up with something like that, man. No,
only in a liberal city would you drive around and there's a bunch of poles with no signs, and you're like,
they left the pole.
I don't know that they did, but the pole, taking down the pole is all the work.
This is what you're expressing. It's the spirit of Cain masquerading as virtue, sir. That's what's happening. Chaos, disorder.
How we're destroying ourselves, and the mayor thinks he did something good. $18,000. What is $18,000? 18,000 divided by 600. There's no way 30. They took the polls down.
No, 30. That's
because that would be like $25 a sign, right? There's no way you paid some union worker in Michigan $20 to pull a sign up. Unless you let him buy a $100,000 truck with a hydraulic yanker on it, and then he's using the taxpayer truck to get paid $25 a sign. Anyway, we got to take a break. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back. into the program, everybody. All right, so we're going to mute this up. I've got a new theory. If I can't get the music that plays during the breaks to stop all the time, because apparently my last segment had music playing over it, I'm going to leave it playing and turn it off last. So in case the copyrighted music makes it, it will be garbled by the junk I'm playing, and then maybe it'll sound like something completely different, and I won't get hit by these ding-dongs that run these giant companies.
That's worth a shot.
Yeah, it's probably not. I appreciate you saying it that way, because I know in the back of your mind you're like, no, you're going to get dinged on it. So, because they've got it all figured out, and it's all going to be that way. So yeah, back to Ann Arbor, and then nobody wants to call. Number here 1-800-289-9228. 1-800-289-9228. So my question really is, who would decide that a neighborhood watch program is now somehow racist and exclusionary? The official statement from the city said, at the direction of the city council, Ann Arbor has completed the citywide removal of more than 600 neighborhood watch signs. The Neighborhood Watch program, which emerged in the 1970s during a period of national anxiety about crime and social change, is defunct. And research shows such signage does not reduce crime and can reinforce biased surveillance. Removing the signs aligns the city's environment with its commitment to inclusive, evidence-based public safety and fostering trust. Belonging and welcoming neighborhoods for all residents and visitors. Were there people who drove through a neighborhood? Okay, let me ask a question. Was there any neighborhood watch signs? Are there neighborhood watch signs in communities? What's the word they say now? In communities of color? Are there not neighborhood watch signs in community? This is Ann Arbor, Michigan. So there are communities of color, and communities of color have neighborhood watch signs in them because communities of color were involved in the neighborhood watch.
Absolutely.
And some of the best communities with the most participation were communities of color. It was usually older people who were like, hey, look, we just want to make sure that our kids can walk down to the park and play on the slide and swing on the swings, and we don't want, somebody selling drugs on the corner on the way to school. We don't want those kind of things. So we're going to keep an eye out, and if we see something, we'll call the police, and we can have a better neighborhood.
Yeah, some people want law and order. They want safe streets.
But
they don't want their homes being broken into.
Yeah. But somebody came along and said, hey, those signs, here's the real mental illness. Who was driving along in their car or walking on the sidewalk and said, neighborhood watch, I feel as if I've been violated? Who was that? Where did that occur? Council member Cynthia Harrison, according to this article, who is black, strongly supported the removal. In the announcement video, Harrison stated, there are people that look like me and those from my community that have been questioned, quite frankly, in their own neighborhood by others, wondering what they're doing there. This is just representative of our values and how we want people to feel in Ann Arbor. We do welcome everyone to the city of Ann Arbor, but most importantly, we want everyone to feel welcome. And just the removal of these signs is a huge step in that direction. Now, here's the sad part about it. She said pretty much everything that you have to understand. In her 2 sentences, she said, feel. She got feel in there. She got feel in there twice. She wants everyone to feel welcome. Do you want the child molester, abductor person? Do you want them to feel welcome?
Everyone. That's what it means.
Everyone?
Yeah, the thief, the burglar, the rape. Yeah, sure.
Rapist,
everyone.
the murderer, the drug
All
dealer.
Inclusive. That's inclusive, Scott. Why do you hate
the
diversity?
Cartel member?
Why do you hate inclusiveness?
I do. Look, I'm working on it, Scott. I'm trying to get over.
Understand, comrade.
Just removal of these signs. Everyone should feel welcome. You know what I want in my community? I want bad people, no matter what they look like. I do not want them to feel welcome. And you know what? There are white people that I do not want to feel welcome. Statistically speaking, it will be a white man who is going to abduct a woman, probably by convincing her that he loves her and wants to date her, and he's going to be a serial killer and put her in the refrigerator, okay? I don't want that white man in my neighborhood. Does that make me a racist?
No.
If a black person I know, who I'm very good friends with a number of black Americans, if they don't want the serial killer who's a white man, good chance of it, if they don't want him in their neighborhood, are they racist? No.
I have one.
What?
I watch out for my neighbors. They watch out for me. Does that make us bad people?
Yes, because that is a that is an Sky. That is an unlicensed, unapproved neighborhood watch program. And you cannot be doing that in this new thing. That is clearly a violation of the social constructs and norms that are being put forth by blue dot cities in this country. You can't be looking.
It just hit me.
Yes.
I'm outside the social construct of inclusive, and I'm
you're not welcoming. You do not love everyone. That is your problem. You are looking at people and saying, I don't know that person. I know my neighbors. It looks like they're borrowing a TV from my neighbor's house. Wow, my neighbor's a giving person. Is that what we're doing? I think that's what we're doing in Ann Arbor.
It just hit me. Yeah. I can't do that anymore, I had no idea I was such a hateful, mean son of a gun. I was just trying to look out for my brother.
Well, finally somebody came along and said, well, look, the program has been defunct and inactive for decades. Which I guess that's probably true. It's kind of like the signs on the side of the road that said, this mile cleaned up by, Joe's Quick Stop. And you're like, Joe's Quick Stop was torn down for a Walmart 17 years ago. Well, how is Joe's Quick Stop still cleaning up the highway? And there's a whole bunch of trash out here. Nobody's cleaning this up. Did we have to pay? See, that was before my time, Sky. When they did the Adopt a Mile program, I'm not knocking it. It may be great. It's a great idea, okay?
Sure.
Did you have to pay to be the adopter?
Yes.
You did?
Yes. Well,
so I had to pay?
No, I'm sorry.
No,
you put up, you didn't have to pay, but you did have to get out there and do some work.
Oh, no, I'm for that.
That was what was assumed. I don't believe there was
But the sign says, this mile adopted by Sky and Sky, and then we're going to keep it clean. Did you and I have to buy that sign?
I would have to check. I did not think so. But
I don't know.
Perhaps.
Maybe you did.
No.
You had free labor, so. I don't
bring
know.
up some questions, but I am kind of struck by this sign of the times and its removal.
So what you got there? Yeah. Did y'all see Jasmine Crockett? She lost her bid for U.S. Senate. Is it time for a break again?
It is.
How are we doing? We're going to have 4 or 5 hours for this show. We can't even get anything started before the next break happens.
It's a good problem to have, though.
Well, let's take another one. We'll be right back. everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Appreciate you listening to the show. Can you hear me? Oh, I got that one on right there. All right, good deal. The Sky brought up something that was interesting during the break, and it fits in with everything else we've been saying. And I want people to be prepared for what is going to happen in these United States. We are seeing actions and political movement that I would argue we've not seen to this extent since before the Civil War. So much maneuvering, using the levers of power to grant an advantage to certain states. Sky was bringing up, and I think he said it was Maine.
Maine, the gerrymandering.
Maine has 40% of Maine is Republican.
That's correct, at least.
And Maine has 0 Republican congressional representation.
No representation.
Whatsoever.
42% vote Republican. They have no
Republican congressman.
No
whatsoever. And that is perfectly okay because
and it's
most
been that
of
way for years.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. Years and years and years, that's okay. And it's okay because it's based on politics, which is why we tell the state of Alabama to get rid of the racial data in our redistricting databases and draw the districts based on politics. Draw the districts that will elect 7 Republican congressmen. And then when every liberal group under the sun comes in and says, oh, no, that's not right, you can't do it that way, you say, look, no, these official maps were done with total disregard, no regard whatsoever for race. But if Maine is making sure, because they're a majority Democrat state, that they have no Republican congressman, regardless of how the 40-something% vote, and they've done that for years and years and years, what do we think is happening? And the reason I say we haven't seen these kinds of things since before the Civil War, basically what Maine and a lot of these Democrat states are saying is, we're going to cheat. We're going to use the levers of power. We're going to do whatever it takes for us to be in charge of the federal government, which has been greatly centralized in the last 150 years. And we're going to use that power to make all of y'all do what we want you to do. And y'all need to be good people and not fight us back. You don't need to do this in your state of Alabama. You don't need to do this in Florida. You don't need to do what we've done in Maine or any of these other places. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do what we're doing in California. You don't need to do what we're trying to do in Virginia. You need to give everybody representation. You need to make sure that the minorities are represented. You don't need to do that. If y'all were good people, and from this false position of authority, they tell us what we need to do. Right. And then we have our own people in our own state that'll say things like, well, Scott, let me see if I can make this work.
Scott, you know that 2 wrongs don't make a right. You should love them, and you should show them that by doing what they say is right will bring them to goodness. And they will see that what they've been doing is wrong, and then we'll all live in this utopia, and there'll be rainbows and unicorns and Skittles falling from the sky, probably sprayed, out of the back of an airplane to change the climate, but there'll be Skittles.
And our people, our own people, our legislators will say, Sky, yeah, two wrongs don't make a right. And my argument for them would be, you know what? A one-sided right will make you a subject. If you do the one-sided right, quote-unquote right, you will be their slave, and you will be subjugated. Yep. And it is from the rules of radicals. Use their goodness against them. Make sure they do what feels right while we rob them blind of their future. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the program, everybody. This is Alabama Unfiltered Radio. I'm Scott Beason. We got our special guest coming up. Is she on the phone, Sky?
She is indeed.
Well, let's go out to Sarah Wilder, who is on with us. Sarah is a culture commentator is what people would call her. Let's see. She's a writer, a commentator on culture and the family, formerly a reporter at the Daily Caller. Her work has been published in Chronicles Magazine, The Federalist, and the American Mind. And she writes a lot now for 1819 News, specifically the Fred and Rita Skelton Center for Cultural Renewal. Sarah, welcome to the program. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you taking time to talk to us today.
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very, very, very much. Well, I've looked through a number of your articles, and like I said, you can find them in the opinion sections over at 1819 News, and you are a prolific writer, and it looks to me like that you're really very, very concerned and very focused on family issues and specifically issues that face American women. Is that safe to say?
Yes, that would be safe to say. As a woman myself and a mother.
Well, we have to make sure in 2026 we need you to tell us apparently whether you're a woman and a mother. And I would argue from some of the things I've looked at, I don't know how often you listen to this program, but I tell people that my spiritual gift is the ability to hack people off. And it's not on purpose. It's because they just people get upset that that we say these things, or that and they don't necessarily like what we say. Like one of your articles, a great example is that. Well, here's the title. There's a solution to the two income trap, but not everyone likes it. And tell me a little bit about that. And because my wife and I have this discussion a lot. She says when my oldest son, who's now 26, I think, when he was in elementary school, there was a group of stay-at-home moms who really helped the school a lot. They were active in the PTA. They were the ones that were always there every time something needed to be done at the playground or this or that or raise money or help. And they made a huge difference at the school. By the time my youngest son came, which got through the school, he's, I think, 7 years younger. It was like my wife and one person. And then to hear it today, they almost have no moms who can help at the school. The stay-at-home mom era seems to be kind of washed away. Now, I'm hoping the younger girls and ladies are kind of moving toward the trad wife thing. But do you kind of see the same thing? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and part of it is necessity. Like I went over in the article about the solution to the two income trap. So there are cases more and more nowadays where, mothers who would otherwise love to be stay-at-home moms can't be because financially it doesn't work out. That is true. But it isn't as true as in as many circumstances as we are told, right? In a lot of circumstances, these are women who actually could very easily quit their jobs, or maybe not even very easily, but fairly easily,
right?
If they prioritize the right thing, right? If they realize that spending time with their children is more important than even a summer vacation, right? And we all love summer vacations, and I wish everyone could afford them, but they aren't as important as being able to be the one to wake your baby up every morning, or be available for the needs of the school that your children go to, right? These are roles that were traditionally filled by wives and mothers who didn't have a full-time job, or at least not a traditional career. And now they don't have anyone to fill them, right? Because everyone's off being a girl boss.
Right.
But what's interesting about those positions is they would also solve a lot of the problems that feminists sort of complain about. Oh, if you become a stay-at-home mom, you're just going to be super bored. You're going to be a doormat. All you're going to do all day is sweep the floor and make a crock-pot meal, right?
Right.
But no, you could actually have a ton of different kind of like side hustles, whether or not they make income or not. That give you a very dynamic and interesting life, right? Day to day, I would say I do like more little side hustles and little things that keep my life very interesting than like my husband, who goes to work for the same company every single day, 5 days a week, 40 plus hours a week, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I've never
privilege for
understood.
women.
And since I have you here, I'm going to jump in from time to time, Sarah. But and you'll have to help me answer, being a woman and a mom. I have never understood this dynamic of that feminism has told ladies that, hey, to be free, to really, really be fulfilled, you must go and do a job that all the men you know, including your husbands, hate. I never have understood that, because for forever it was like, the guy comes home, he's like, man, my job's bad, I don't like it, but I got to do it. I got to go to work today. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then somebody came along and said, hey, you know what? You can go to a job you hate too, and that will make you free. It'll make you happy. It'll make you prosperous. That I never, ever, ever, ever understood.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I think the life of the stay-at-home mom is very, it's very dynamic and very interesting. And I think the trad wife trend, although it's not perfect, does sort of put us in the direction of showing women how glorious this life can really be.
I remember I was told by, we had some friends that ran multiple daycare services. They're not cheap, by the way. I mean, you know that. But what was funny to me, that they had a policy that was never mentioned to the mom that little Scott took his first steps today. And when I have told women that, at first they're shocked. Because, you'll hear somebody say, well, little Scott took his first steps over the weekend. He was so good. And I'm like, yeah, that's because little Scott took his first steps last Wednesday for Gina, who works at the daycare, and you missed it. It's those kinds of things. I mean, is that the kind of thing that's beginning to shock women out of this go work at a cubicle and pretend you're a boss and do what your boss says there all day, every day, and maybe get focused back on your family? Are women realizing they're missing those things?
Yeah, it's like the farce is finally sort of, coming down, right? This all like relied on, like, careerist corporatist lie, all relied on lying to women and men in some ways about different things, like you're going to be more fulfilled if you're at work, and then little things, not super little, but even like what you mentioned about, lying to women that they're not actually missing out on their children's childhood.
Right.
I think maybe the reason younger women seem to be bucking against that trend just a little bit is because they are, in many ways, the children of that generation that was lied to so much.
Right.
A lot of, like, Gen Z, for instance, they're children of Gen X, right? And
Right.
Gen X women, were, I wouldn't say the first feminists, obviously. They, go all the way back to quite a lot earlier. But it was definitely a lot more common for Gen X women, than maybe their mothers and grandmothers.
Yeah, their moms, their baby boomer moms were telling them they needed to do it. It was the baby boomer moms who really started, training their daughters to want to be the boss babes. And they're also the ones who fed us margarine and told us to eat more sugar and quit eating eggs and all that kind of stuff. They bought into everything they were told.
Oh, absolutely. Boomer feminists were very, very bitter women, and really, really fed into their daughters that if you want to make anything of your life, don't get married young, don't have children young, and if you do have them, don't stay home with them.
Jeez Louise. Hey, we got to take a break. Sarah, can you stay with us? This is a fascinating conversation, and I appreciate you taking time. I just don't know how long you have.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I can stay.
Well, very good. Sarah Wilder is with us, a great guest, a lot of things to talk about. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the program, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. We appreciate you listening to the show. Sarah Wilder is with us. She is a culture commentator over at 1819 News in a lot of different places. And she's on the phone. I appreciate her time and her wisdom. Sarah, thank you for being on the program and staying over with us. Let me ask a couple quick questions. Or one thing is, I got myself in trouble one time at Sunday school. My wife had to go out of town, and I had the kids, 3 kids, all by myself over the whole weekend. They were young. I got myself in trouble by they only let me teach every so often because I make people mad. And I said, I understand why women want to go to work, because going to work was way easier than keeping up with 3 kids. And for some reason, that did not hit very well with them, because I mean, it's tough. But women are wired, made by God, in my opinion, because of their nature and empathy, and they're just, I mean, that's the gift that God gave them, and I think it's so important that they fulfill that role. But how can, because I think a lot of people work because we want bigger cars, nicer houses, bigger houses, and then we get ourselves in a position where, well, if my wife quits work and stays at home with the kids, we won't be able to get a Yukon. We won't be able to get this. And I try to tell people, you know what? Nobody cares what car you have after about the second day, after you've shown them, hey, I got a new car. They don't care what you have anymore. Maybe you need to keep it clean and you know, it needs to have all 4 wheels on it. But my advice is, I don't know if you agree, that, look, people don't care about necessarily how big your house is, how big your car is, what you're having to do. But what does matter is being able to pour into your children and them having that stability. I mean, I wouldn't trade anything for the time my wife was able to be with my kids the whole entire time they grew up. And it wasn't always easy, but I think it's well worth it. So how do they do it? I mean, there's got to be some really tough things you have to say if you were counseling a young family. I mean, do you say, hey, look, you're not going to be able to have everything, but the rewards far outweigh the cost?
Right. Well, there's just no one's going to raise your kids better than you are, right?
Correct.
You could find the best nanny, right? The best babysitter, even the best, grandma. I have amazing grandparents on both sides of our family that definitely help out watching Duke when we need it. But it's not, it's not the same as me or my husband taking care of him, right? And my son especially needs my mothering, right, in that sort of tangible, physical way. Down to I'm very pregnant at this point. I'm due in less than 2 weeks, right? Starting to think about that newborn phase when your child is just completely dependent on the wife in particular. And it's easy for us in modern culture to think of the role of husband and wife as interchangeable. And so you think, oh, well, what if you just have a stay-at-home dad or something like that? The woman's role towards her child is far more physical and far more needed in those younger years than, I wouldn't say more needed than the father's role, but it's needed in a different way, right? You need the dad, right, to toughen up the child, to give them that care and affection, right? You need the mother to physically carry the pregnancy, to birth the child, to breastfeed the child, right? I think the reason that feminists revolt against things like pregnancy, right, is because it's this very, very innate biological reminder of the fact that they are made to bear children, and that is extremely controversial. And their being made to bear children also bears out in how the roles should be defined when it comes to how they parent, right? Where the mom, generally speaking, stays home more, and the dad goes out and provides. Right.
No, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I'm so happy that there are people like you out there, Sarah, helping young families helping young ladies navigate this all these choices. I've heard a lot of younger ladies saying that they want to be more traditional wives, and many of them understanding that it comes with a sacrifice. Some of them not so much. Right. They hope to have everything like we all do, but you not necessarily you can't do it all. So what do you think? Right. Jumping off to maybe another article that segues with this, do you see more people wanting to have get married younger? Just go ahead and start having children, have more children, and just are you seeing a little bit of a return of that, especially maybe here in the South?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what the statistics would be, sort of, across the country or even in Alabama specifically. I like to think, from what I've seen anecdotally, in my corner of the world, it does seem to be a trend towards motherhood and a more traditional lifestyle. Right. Certainly online, these things seem to be glamorized more, right. Which I actually think is a good thing. Again, even though the trad wife trend can, in some ways, it is just a trend. It can need to be something deeper before it really takes root in society. It is still good, and I'm just really glad that there is now an alternative aesthetic being offered to young women in particular, right? There's so much glamour to the girl boss lifestyle, to being, the female lawyer, right? And you're wearing the high heels. And the blazer,
they're almost always lawyers on television. Oh, they're the smartest, the baddest, the awesomest.
Not insurance salesmen.
Yes.
Right.
They're not in a cubicle going over spreadsheets like is more likely the case.
Yes. Right. We're acting like everyone's going to have the most amazing, fulfilling career, and for the most part, and this goes for men too. You kind of just work a job, right? Yeah. You're not everyone's having this perfect, amazing career that could be made into a TV show, right? But we're telling women that if they give up raising their own children, they're going to necessarily get this, and that's not really the case, right? They're just kind of working cubicle jobs for corporate. They would fire them in 2 seconds and hire a replacement, or replace them with AI in 5 seconds. Whereas where it really matters in in the home, they're giving up that role.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So tell people where they can find where exactly to go to find all your articles. I mean, so many of them are very, very good. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and hopefully we'll get the time to talk to you more in the future. But what's the best way to find your work, and so people can read some of your writings?
Yeah, well, the best way, definitely follow me on X at Sarah Hope Wilder. That's where I post everything. I write for a variety of outlets. Okay. But for sure, read 1819 News. In their opinion section there. There's a lot of good culture writers, and I'm usually about weekly. I'll have an article there. Yeah,
how can we pretty much guess that in a couple of weeks you might miss a week?
Oh, yeah. I've already told my editor that at least a month I'm going to be going dark.
Fantastic. Well, we're excited for you. Is it a boy or a girl, or do y'all know? Are y'all going to surprise people, or what?
Yeah, we're having our second boy.
Second boy. You just going to keep going until you have a girl, or what's the deal?
Definitely we're wanting more than 2 kids. So
there you go. God bless you, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking time with us again. Sarah Wilder, culture commentator. You can find her work over at 1819 News, and I think she said find her on Twitter X at Sarah Hope Wilder. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back in, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio. Hey, don't forget our friend who has a podcast, Brian Dawson, 1819 News, the podcast. It actually works right over on YouTube because they do it all and have somebody edit it, make it look great, and then load it up to YouTube for your enjoyment. Check them out there. Subscribe. If you don't want to do it at YouTube, you can find 1819 News, the podcast with Brian Dawson at all the places where you usually find your favorite podcast. Now, those of us trying to do it live, little different topic there, but we're making progress. It seems to be working fairly well right now. Do I promise it'll be working well Monday? No. But go to YouTube, search Scott Beason, look for the guy with the white shirt and the white hair. I have no idea right now how there can be so many Scott Beasons, but apparently there are. And until we get this thing going more, where it's always at the top, we'll be facing that challenge. But let's get out to some of your phone calls.
And subscribe and get in there and listen and bring it all the way to the top.
Yeah, and you can go later. You don't have to just do it live. Yeah. These will stay up for a few days. One day we'll probably start erasing them after a few days, but if we can, I don't even know if you can erase them when they're on YouTube. And I'm sure somebody will say, well, of course you can, Scott. You got to go to the so-and-so tab and to the so-and-so tab and then switch over here and turn this off and turn that off, and that'll erase the Yeah.
All we know for sure is you can erase Jimi Hendrix, and that's
yes, if you have a copyright violation,
kind of sad but true,
you can yield to them and just let them erase the whole segment. But did I tell you what they actually said? It's apparently not only they can erase just the music. Mm-hmm. That's how good their AI or whatever is. It'll just go in there and say, hey, here's the little copyright stuff and scrub it out and keep the other stuff. Why doesn't it just do that automatically?
That would be too easy.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of sending me a warning, if you don't like it, just scrub it. Can I click a button and say just scrub it automatically?
Because they're like pushing us around, man.
They want me to know and fully understand that I've had a violation of the hallowed halls of 50, 60. How long has Jimi Hendrix been dead? And when does his music become
1970. Free? Well, that's a whole other question. Jimmy died in 1970. Let's see. You get into public domain.
When? I mean, books are public domain. Are we still giving who wrote the Count of Monte Cristo? Cervantes or something like that? I mean, is his family still getting royalties from that book?
I don't think so.
But Jimi Hendrix's family will get it till 1,000 years from now.
His family's really good. He's released like 10 times more albums
since he died.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's what Charlie Kirk's doing too. His podcast. I mean, I don't mean to be joking because that's too soon. Too soon. Maybe too soon. I apologize. But, man, they're working that name like crazy. Let's go to Soldier Boy before I get myself in trouble with people or more trouble. Soldier Boy, welcome to the program.
Good morning. I hope you all have a good weekend.
We're having a fantastic Friday, Soldier Boy. I hope you have a good weekend as well.
Thank you. I hope the weather holds up maybe, but I think it's going to rain again. But my grass needs it anyway, so that's something to think about it. Hey, I wanted to talk about the situation with medical billing and medical health in the United States. And I'm going to talk personally about myself.
Okay.
For example, I was, Sky, you know, where the Baptist Hospital, the one that's off Atlanta Highway, where is that, the east or the west or what?
That is Baptist East. Yes, sir.
Okay, I was in the Baptist East, okay, for a medical reason, an emergency room, and then they put me in. Told me the next day that I had to be transported to the other Baptist for a medical exam, okay? That had to be done, and it could only be done there. Mm-hmm. I want you to take me a guess. Okay, for example, I'm going to tell you my personal information. My primary care when I was employed at the time was Blue Cross Blue Shield was my primary, and TRICARE for Life East was my secondary, which I got through the military, which I pay every month extra for, okay? Do you know how much they transported me from the one in Atlanta Highway to the other Baptist? Baptist, what's that one on the bypass?
That's Baptist South. Yes. Baptist South.
Okay.
Yes,
do you know how much they charged my insurance company, or basically charged me? Guess how much? Wait a minute. Let me tell you
All right,
something
now
else, too.
wait. Are we talking about total bill or what you were billed personally?
Oh no, the total bill.
Okay.
I mean, the insurance company comes out. It comes out of your money too, okay?
Right.
But here's the funny thing about it was, okay? It was and I talked to was it Haynes Ambulance / Care Ambulance was the one that provided the service, okay? And they said it was a non-emergency, okay? This is just transport. I could have got in my freaking car and drove there myself and drove myself back for this, okay? How much do you think they charged the insurance company? How much did that ride cost?
$2,000.
Close, $1,600. Are you freaking kidding me?
Wow. Hey, look, call everybody listening down there. If y'all need to be moved from south to east or east to south or north to west or wherever y'all going,
Jeez.
if you're not about to die and you're not got any fluids that are going to get out in my car, I will bring the van down and transport you for half that.
Oh, I bet you do it for $50.
No, gas is too high for that. I'm going for half.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're going to underbid them a little bit.
But Sky, you know that because your wife's situation with billing in the medical. This country now the reason why it costs $1,400. You know why?
Why?
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Because the engine didn't care. For example, I got a lady that's 3 blocks over in my subdivision. Okay, she calls the ambulance every week. Guess what? They have to, by law, respond.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, they have to. And she doesn't have the money, and her engine didn't care. Okay, and Social Security, she can't pay it, but they still got to come and take her. Okay.
Yep.
So who do they pass it on to? Me and Sky.
That's right.
And you.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. I had
So
when I was in college
I-
30 years ago, Soldier Boy.
Whoa.
I had to go to the emergency room. I guess it was 30 years ago. Yeah, it was. And the security guy was telling me how people came in the ambulance to the emergency room all the time with like colds.
Oh, yeah.
Because the ambulance ride was free and the taxi cab cost money.
And also, you go to the front of the line
That's
if you're
correct.
coming by ambulance.
Do you really?
Yes, sir. Go straight to triage. Yep.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Triage.
Yeah.
The ambulance comes first, so that's why our rates are so high because people abuse it. First of all, I know that's one of the variables. I'm sure there's other ones.
No, Soldier Boy. No, there's not even one case in America of anyone abusing it. It is all based out of need
Stop.
and just and we should be more loving.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they told me it was a non-emergency rate. I'd hate to see what emergency rate is.
Yeah, it would be
Okay,
bad.
okay. A little trivia for you, real quick, everybody. We know what an ambulance ride cross town costs now. Try this one, and I'm not complaining, mind you.
Okay.
What does a life flight helicopter from the top of Jackson Hospital to UAB in Birmingham cost?
Oh my gosh.
Try
Scott.
that one on. And I'm not complaining.
Do you know
They
the
saved my
answer?
wife's
You know
life.
the answer, right?
I opened the bill, sir. Yeah, I know the answer. Anybody want to try that one? And I'm not complaining.
Wait a minute,
Once again.
Sky, guys, tell me this. Your wife had to go by medevac a helicopter?
Yes, sir. From Jackson to UAB.
Who was your
February
insurance
22nd,
company at the time?
2024. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Who was your insurance company?
Viva.
Your carrier.
Viva. And they're
Okay.
good. They're very good.
And how much did they charge?
The charge was,
helicopter.
are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let me guess.
And
I'm going to guess. I'm going to
okay.
guess. 5,000.
Oh heck
Keep
no.
going.
Nowhere
Keep going.
close. 25,000.
Keep going.
50,000?
$37,000. And I'm not complaining. Okay, that's not what I paid, of course.
Yeah, but-
I had good insurance, thank God. I had just changed my insurance in December, and it happened in February.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
$37,000.
Did they cover all of it? Wait a minute, Scott, did they cover all of it?
they covered most of it,
Wow.
and then I paid the rest off in
rest
about 18 months.
I know you got to make monthly payments, but that's just scary with our medical. It's got to be to work on this guy
Well,
because this is
Martha was upset when she woke up. She was so upset. You know why?
Why?
She didn't remember the helicopter ride.
She's
Seriously.
like, I finally rode in the
She
helicopter.
still goes off. about that.
$37,000 worth of it.
Yeah.
And I still didn't get to know. Hey, Soldier Boy, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. You are right. We got to do something about it. But, the leadership we have, I don't know that that's ever going to happen. Too many people are making a lot of money off the few people who are paying the bills.
I just want to let you know that I am doing it for $50. I'll drive you across McClellan.
Thanks, Soldier Boy. We got to take a real quick break. We got one segment left, and we see we got somebody on the calls waiting. We'll get right to them. We'll be back. Welcome back in, everybody. Alabama Unfiltered Radio, last segment of the day. Let's get out to the phones. Clark, welcome to the program. I hope you are well.
Hey, Scott, I'm all good.
Good. What's up, man? Are you listening online or are you checking out YouTube?
I'm online.
Oh, okay. All right. Good deal.
All right, so replacement theory, Scott.
Yes, sir. From the start of this program.
Yes. Robert Heinlein published Starship Troopers in 1958. 1958. He made the statement in there that any species, race, breed, or culture that deliberately limits its own rate of reproduction will be in one generation by one that did not.
You're right. Hey, Sky, you might want to turn your mic down.
I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so now I think every time we talk about the whole redistricting and the Supreme Court decision, I was taught that every time you stick a knife in, you don't pull it out, you have to twist it first.
Yes.
So every time we bring this up, I think we should give props to Spanberger and the overreachers in Virginia.
Because they got it kicked off?
Credit where credit is due. They went too far. And, oh boy, look at how things are going to go. Now, here's my question, Scott. How much would it cost for the listeners of Alabama Unfiltered to file a class action lawsuit against the state of Alabama because we now have unconstitutional districts?
You know, that's a good question. There's a debate, and I don't have a time to get to it, where they're asking the Attorney General is asking to have the sanction lifted from the court so that we can redistrict. And I'm like, how in the world do we have a situation to start with where the court says, hey, you know what, we don't like your lines. We're going to have a bunch of liberal folks come in here and draw the lines for you. And on top of that, we're telling you you can't redraw them again until 2030. And part of me wants to think that the problem we have is when it's lawyers arguing with judges, they all get in this legal mindset like, oh, please, Mr. Judge, oh, I'll need to file of this and a file of that, instead of going, hey, you're number one, and we're going to do what we have a right to do, and we're getting on with it. But still, hey, it is what it is. But I don't know which way would be faster, Clark. My guess is if we filed suit, they would do what they usually do, which is sit around on it and not even pay attention to it at least till after the next election so that they can get their extra Democrats into the halls of Congress.
Well, I think we could achieve a couple things. One, bring attention to the issue. And two, bring attention to Alabama Unfiltered.
Yeah. Well, if the legislature, if Kay Ivey would call a special session, there'll be plenty of attention brought to it. But so far, we don't have any luck doing that.
I know. Hey, James Comey, 3 indictments in 3 separate states, and they're going to make him defend all 3 of them simultaneously, apparently.
Well, I mean, the guy was up to no good, and people can act like he's innocent. That's what the mainstream media is doing. But the guy was involved in a coup attempt, and it should go all the way up to a former president. I don't know how far they'll take it. I'm not holding my breath, but we're making progress. Thanks, Clark. I appreciate you, buddy. Great point. Have a great weekend. Let's go out to Eric. Eric the dog. Welcome to the program. Hadn't heard from you in a while. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Bien, bien. I just wanted to tell y'all that insurance is the reason that insurance sucks.
It's not a
Thanks, Eric.
That's,
I've been waiting on
that's
that
brilliant,
call.
Eric. We're glad you're back.
Yes.
Those guys, we deal with this in the car industry too. The insurance gets to make up all these rules and lobby for all these things, they get to tell you what they're going to pay and what they're not going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just like, I think a long time ago, you said one time that the reason that college tuition went up is because of what the government's willing to back.
Right.
So they automatically raised the base level up to the lowest level of that, which raises it for everybody else. And that's insurance. I mean, it's helpful sometimes, but most of the time it's just a con to get you out of your money.
No, you're right. Hey, Eric the dog, don't be a stranger, but we got to go, man. It's the end of the week, end of the show, and we'll see all y'all. Y'all be safe, be good. See y'all.